On the show, former Delhi Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia sent to ED remand till the 17th of March, this in the excise policy case. Uttarakhand's Rudraprayag and Tehri are at maximum risk of landslide in the country. Details coming up of the landslide atlas report from ISRO. More than just a pinch of salt, a startling WHO report on sodium. Indians found to be consuming salt far above than stipulated. And warning signs, COVID-19 cases are spiking once again in India. This and more, Top Angle starts right here, right now. Well, now, weeks after the incidents of land subsidence rocked Uttarakhand, a report by the Hyderabad-based National Remote Sensing Center of ISRO rings an alarm bell. The landslide atlas report reveals Uttarakhand's Rudraprayag, which houses the holy Kedarnath shrine, has maximum exposure to landslide risk in the country. Rudraprayag has 32 chronic landslide zones, with the maximum located on NH 107 that leads to the holy town of Kedarnath, the epicenter of a massive June 2013 floods that killed thousands. Now, landslides remain among the top natural calamities that India is prone to. Uttarakhand is particularly susceptible, and it is clear from the fact that over 11,000 landslides were recorded in the state in the last 2 decades. Uttarakhand's Tehri is at the second spot in the list with 24 landslide zones, including Tota Ghati, identified as a very chronic landslide site. Who can forget the devastating 2013 Kedarnath floods, which caused huge loss to life and property? ISRO's recent report, based on the satellite data reconstruction of the chain of events, showed that old landslides had damaged river walls, resulting in the flooding in Kedarnath. Moving on. As central agencies double down on Aam Aadmi Party's senior leader Manish Sisodia, opposition parties, except the Congress, have come out in support of the Aam Aadmi Party, calling Sisodia's arrest a witch hunt. Parties like the BRS, the Shiv Sena, the RJD, TMC and the DMK, amongst others, have raised their voices against the BJP, alleging blatant misuse of central agencies. Arvind Kejriwal, who was already miffed over Sisodia's arrest, took a jibe at Prime Minister Narendra Modi, asking why his party leader was arrested instead of BJP MLA's son, who was caught in Karnataka. All this is happening when Sisodia continues to stay in trouble with the Enforcement Directorate, stepping in after the CBI in the excise policy case. Delhi's Rouse Avenue Court, meanwhile, sent Sisodia to Enforcement Directorate remand till the 17th of March. The ED had arrested Sisodia a day before the bail hearing in the CBI court. Sisodia's bail plea hearing has been shifted to the 21st of March. Well, now the court adjournment is no less than a setback to the Aam Aadmi Party leader, as he has to stay in Tehri jail until the next hearing. But it must be noted, while Sisodia stays in jail for another 11 days, BRS leader and Telangana Chief Minister KCR's daughter, K. Kavita, will face the ED on Saturday. Moving on. We eat way too much salt. In fact, on average, people consume around twice the amount of sodium that is needed per day. For a single day, the W.H.O.'s recommended maximum, by the way, is under 5 grams. And turns out, the average person ends up taking anywhere between 9 to 12 grams of sodium every day. In fact, per its latest advisory, the UN Health Agency has found that the world is off track by as much as 30%, exactly a third, to meet its global sodium intake reduction target by the year 2025. This and other startling findings are in the WHO's one-of-a-kind global report on sodium intake reduction. Now, sodium is a key compound of common salt. According to estimates, people started adding salt to their food about 5,000 years ago. And since then, it has played a prominent role, both as a resource as well as a trading commodity. Wars have been fought over it, and empires have flourished due to it. So, not only is salt an inextricable part of our diet, it is also a biological need. All living beings, especially humans, depend on salt, but eating more sodium than our body requires increases blood pressure, which damages arteries, and that puts us at a risk of heart attack, stroke, and other ailments. Now, the World Health Organization ranks countries on the basis of a unique index called the Sodium Country Scorecard. Countries who have simply made a national policy commitment towards sodium reduction are given the score of 1. Now, India and many other countries were given the score of 2. These nations use policy measures to reduce sodium in food supply and also encourage consumers to make healthier food choices. As for India, while it does have some sodium rules in place, a lot more needs to be done, and it can perhaps start at home, since the food we eat, besides being carb dense, also tends to be sodium heavy on average. Now, for score number 3, at least one mandatory measure against excess sodium consumption is required. There also needs to be a policy that makes declaring salt content mandatory in pre-packaged food. And countries with a score of 4 implement mandatory rules for sodium reduction, including declaration on pre-packaged food, as well as comply with all sodium-related WHO guidelines. Now, only 9 countries, Mexico, Malaysia, Saudi Arabia, Brazil, and others, have a comprehensive bouquet of sodium policies which the WHO recommends. And take a look at this. Nothing is going the Imran Khan way in Pakistan. The Election Commission of Pakistan has initiated proceedings against Pakistan Tehri-e-Insaf chairman Imran Khan. As per the litigation status report of Imran Khan, there are over 80 cases against Imran Khan, including 19 in which he himself is a petitioner. Now, these cases have been filed in different parts of the country and involve litigation, police, and federal investigation agencies. According to a report, 21 FIRs were registered against the former Prime Minister. In addition to these, Imran Khan himself has also filed 5 cases against the Federation of Pakistan in the Supreme Court, 2 cases against the Election Commission of Pakistan, and 2 more against him in the Islamabad High Court. Well, now in total, there are about 6 cases registered against Imran Khan in the Lahore High Court, 3 in the Peshawar High Court, 3 in the Islamabad District Court, and 5 with the Election Commission of Pakistan. Now, the cases with the Election Commission of Pakistan include a foreign funding case, a KP helicopter case, a removal of chairmanship case, and a contempt case for using inappropriate language against the commission and its chairman. The Pakistan Tehri-e-Insaf leader asserted on Twitter that he has about 76 cases against him, including those of terrorism, blasphemy, and sedition. He further mentioned that the sedition case does not have the name of any officer or the institution specified. Moving on. As the coastal state of Goa singes in heat wave and the maximum temperature remains above its normal value, a warning has been issued by the Indian Meteorological Department. Well, now the dry heat wave rose to an extent that it was said to be a major contributor to prompt wildfires in Goa's Madehi Wildlife Sanctuary, as well as in several other parts of the state. As fire spread rapidly across the forest areas, Navy deployed helicopters to conduct an aerial survey and help douse the flames. The Forest Department is keeping a close watch and taking appropriate measures to check the fire incidents in forests. Considering the seriousness of the heat wave, the State Department has also offered a little respite in schools by keeping it closed post 12 noon on Thursday and Friday. The decision was conveyed to all schools and students were allowed to leave by 12 noon. Now, although the IMD has claimed that the temperature would likely go down by 2 to 3 degrees Celsius from 11th March onwards, hot conditions may continue to persist in the days to come, as this is just the onset of summers in India. And after a lull, COVID-19 cases are once again on the rise in India, with a record 63% increase in just a week's time. And what's even more worrying is that it is accompanied with a rise in H3N2 virus cases. Now, the Union Health Ministry's latest data says India has recorded 440 new infections in a single day. The sudden spurt in COVID cases in the country was recorded in the last 3 weeks. The sudden rise in COVID cases is coupled with a rise in H3N2 influenza or viral infection, causing a greater concern. And here's a look at how the cases are panning and spanning out. Between February 27th and the 5th of March, 1,898 new COVID cases were reported in the country, 63% more than the previous week. Between February 20th and the 26th, there were about 1,163 COVID cases, 39% more than the week before. Between the 13th of February and the 19th of February, there were about 839 cases, which is 13% more than the previous week. Now, between February 27th and the 5th of March, the maximum cases were registered in South India and Maharashtra. While 473 cases were registered in Karnataka, 410 were reported in Kerala last week, and 287 were reported in Maharashtra last week. Kerala, Karnataka, and Maharashtra have more than half the active COVID cases in the country. Along with the sudden increase in corona cases, cases of H3N2 influenza virus have also increased. The H3N2 subtype causes fever and cough that can persist up to 3 weeks. And since the H3N2 spreads through droplets just as corona, wearing masks and physical distancing becomes a necessity. Something that not just India, but the whole world had adhered to during peak COVID-19 times. Well, on that note, it's the end of this edition of Top Angle. Do check out incisive news analysis and cutting-edge documentaries streaming only on News 9. Thanks for watching.